Hey everyone, it's your boys at Everything Money. We welcome you in. Thanks for clicking on our channel. As always, we analyze the health of companies. We get requests from our dear patrons. You know, I love you out there. And this was one that came up, Paul. Obviously, this is just straight up a hype stock. This is a quote growth stock. It's an emerging market. We're going to look at ChargePoint today. They don't have a ton of data in terms of years of history, but we're going to look at what we have and explain sort of our take on.
My data provider doesn't even have the right data on it. That's how limited it is.
Limited. The reason we brought this up is it's no surprise that like EV vehicles are getting more produced, Mo. I mean, the Mustang, a lot of companies are moving toward this. And that ChargePoint has a very large, 73% market share on the charging infrastructure. Now, I know it gets confusing. I drive a Tesla. I got to stop at the Tesla charging stations. Now, at times, Mo, I can't go to like another charging station like a ChargePoint or something and charge without the adapter. I'm actually confused. I have the car and I'm confused. As far as I know, these Leafs and these new Mustangs can't pull up to a Tesla and charge either. So it's going to get kooky out there. But in general, we want to look at the health of this company. The stock price itself, Paul, is down. But I assume in the future, if this company stays healthy and continues its market share, it could have some great returns. So I want to get your thoughts on a value investor standpoint of ChargePoint, your general thoughts on the EV market and how maybe this company has maybe some advantages over its competitors like Blink, some other places. So go ahead, Paul. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so ChargePoint's not making money. They're losing money hand over fist and their losses keep increasing. Does that mean it cannot be a value play? Absolutely not. And let me give the example here. Let's say you have years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's assume 6 years and it's going to go out. Remember, the value of a stock is the present value of all its future cash flows, right? So if you're going to make $1 a year for the next 10 years, what is that worth to you today? Would you pay $10 for it? No, because you're just going to end up with the exact same amount of money. There's no return there. Would you pay 9? Okay, it's 11% return, but you got to wait 10 years to get that. Doesn't sound very attractive. That's where you keep going down and down. Now,
I do like when you say this, Paul. It's the present value.
What would you pay today for a future stream of income?
And if you're new to this, we're trying to sway you from paying future values of this company today.
Correct.
The idea of buying low and selling high as opposed to buying into the hype and buying highs is really what we're trying to.
Hype investing is about buying the highs, hoping they get higher. That doesn't work. Buy at what you think it's worth, and if it's not what you're worth, don't even buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about losses, let's say we have a company that has 6 years. -10, -5, 0, 10, 20, 50. Okay. In year 1, it loses 10. Year 2, it loses 5. Year 3, it's even. Year 4, it makes 10. Year 5, it makes 20. Year 6, it makes 50. We have losses in the first 2 years, but I think we'd all agree that if I were to be able to buy this company that's going to make $65 over the next 6 years, heck, if I paid $20 for it, I'm going to over triple my money in the next 6 years. I would clearly be willing to pay $20 for this company. Would I pay 30? I mean, I'm doubling my money in 6 years. Doesn't seem bad. These are the things that when we talk about value investing, and a lot of people give me a bad rap saying, oh, just because it loses money. No, what value investing, the reason I dissuade companies that lose money is they tend to be overhyped companies. So a company like ChargePoint, and I'm not saying this is the case, but a company like ChargePoint is doing this, -5, -20, -30, and there's no end in sight. We don't know what's going to make money, and we sit there and pay $500 for it. Why? Because at some point in the future, you're going to make a ton of money. I don't buy into that. I buy into, let's make assumptions, and in our software, which if you wait to the end of the video to understand, you'll be able to find out how to get our software. Our software will have a stock value calculator that will allow you to put in the numbers and your assumptions, because all investing is assumptions about the future. We already know what the past has done. You can use the past to generate knowledge about the future and make assumptions about the future, but it's not a guarantee. With hype stocks, all they care about is the future, and I don't know if I buy into that. ChargePoint has a very, very high potential because they currently, according to what Seth found, 73% of the charging station market they control.
Mm-hmm.
And if we all believe electric vehicles are the future, could be huge. My question is, what's proprietary about them? Is it hard to enter that? I think it would be hard to enter the marketplace to become a charging station business. I mean,
see, I would think opposite. I would think gas stations would be primed and ready with the real estate and the popularity. Just
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you talk
Sunoco
about
just saying, you know what?
Sunoco, Shell, BP, we're putting them in. But regardless, I think the other sketchy thing about this, Paul, and I say sketchy from a value investing standpoint is, Mo, this was a SPAC, which I'm not a specialist on, but give us your thoughts. You talked about how the SEC is describing of late that SPACs are very dangerous. So this started as a SPAC. It's one company acquiring another, but this is also companies like Nikola, DraftKings, maybe not DraftKings, but Nikola.
Yeah, DraftKings.
This has fallen 40%, Paul, since around Christmas. Yeah. It's well over half the price it used to be. So Mo,
and my comment is, I'm sorry to interrupt you on this one, but before we go to Mo, if it has such a bright future, the future is everything, why is it fallen in half? Now, somebody can make the argument, well, Paul, if your value investing works, why aren't they working all the time? Things don't work all the time. However, in this market that's been especially exuberant and going up and up and up, to have a stock fall in half that was supposed to be all hype, it doesn't add up to me.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, Paul, is if you look at other channels, folks, and if you're watching them, when this was $45 a share, they're telling you it's going to the moon and buy. And then now that it's 20, Paul, they're saying again, we should be buying. Buy the dip is their slogan, right? So it's like, okay, so we were supposed to buy when it's high and we buy when it's low. When are you actually supposed to buy instead of listening to all this nonsense? So Mo, tell us about SPACs and what you think about them.
So what a SPAC is, it's an acronym, and it stands for Special Purpose Acquisition Company. And what these companies do, here's the definition right here. SPACs, they raise money through an initial public offering, just like they do normally when companies want to go public. The difference of what they do is that they go in and they take those funds that they raised, and then they go and try to acquire a privately held company and take the funds and they buy the company, and then they create a newly publicly traded company like Nikola, like DraftKings, something like that. And something that is very problematic about that is they are using celebrity likeness to go and do that. A-Rod is part of...
You don't like this. I mean, celebrities selling their souls just to get on board.
Well, they're probably being paid a good chunk of money to do it.
They are being paid, and that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with people saying that A-Rod's involved with this thing's going to take off. Serena Williams is involved with this thing's going to take off, and that's what they're doing. A-Rod is going to be a part of 31 SPACs by the end of 2022.
Come on.
He was already part of Hims and Hers, the hair loss thing that went public. He was part of that one. He was part of another one that just went public 3 weeks ago. So he is heavily involved in these, and they're just using that celebrity likeness to get things going. So the SEC is going after them for all these reasons.
Yeah, so Paul, I mean, in general, we're 40% down from when this thing was going to go to the moon. People are still telling us to buy. Like, what is your stance as a disciplined value investor?
Let these things go to the wayside. Let them generate their wait until you have a more clear picture of the future. An opportunity to know where the value is going to come from, where the profit is going to come from. Right now, we just see increased losses, and the comment is, yes, we're growing, because everybody will buy into that. Everybody say, well, they're growing. I buy into that. When we have, my father once asked me, Paul, in the real estate, how much we generate in cash flow? I go, 0, and we never will. My goal is to never cash flow our real estate. Why, though? Because I want to reinvest back in our properties and upgrades. That's part of the capital expenditure part of our cash flow, and reinvest so we can generate more and more value. So I believe in no cash flow for growth. The question is, if there's no path to the future of cash flow and they're just doing off hype, that's where I have a problem. And I think this might be one of those situations.
So you would never consider, even with the amount of growth, you'd never consider getting into this company at the moment?
At the moment, I mean, unless somebody has, I'm not going to go do the amount of research it would take to do it, because initially off the bat, I'm like, no, this doesn't work for me. For me to go spend my time doing research, I only have limited time. I want to go do research on companies I actually, off a 500-foot view, say, and this screams hype stock. I have to look at the environment we're in too. This screams hype stock, overvalued, and SPAC. I just sit there and say, I'll find something else.
So if we can't buy it which is hilarious, Paul, because the videos I was watching from some of these hype YouTubers is that this is a very long-term play. You buy this and hold it for many, many years. Mo, what are your thoughts? If you're in the Bid and Ask Nation, which is our middle Patreon tier, and you're interested in trading, momentum, day trading, you're interacting with Mo on an hour-by-hour basis. Mo, what is your thoughts on trading this stock?
So before I do this, I want to just point out one stat. Just this year, what is today's date?
24th, 25th.
There have been 294 SPAC IPOs this year, and there were 59 in 2019.
Wait a second. In 2020, there were 294.
this year so far, 2021.
Are you serious?
That's what it says right here. According to SPAC Analytics, there have been 294 such IPOs this year so far.
Go to the top and see what date this was written.
This just came out today, I think. This was on MarketWatch.
What does that tell you, Paul? If
March 25th, 2021.
Then why aren't they referencing 2020 then? I think they mean 2020.
Okay.
Because why would they refer to 2019 and 2021 but not refer to 2020?
You might be right. Even if that's the case, that's a lot.
It's still a lot.
Yeah.
It's still almost 5 times more.
Yeah,
It's still a
yeah.
lot.
But from a trading perspective, so guys, I always say it. I say it to the people in the Bid and Ask Nation all the time. I do not like trading IPOs unless I am day trading them on a 15-minute chart. And the reason is this is all I have to work with. This is the entire zoomed out chart. I don't have any support lines, resistance lines. It's just candlesticks that move day to day based on whatever the volume is that day from these from
Can you
from
show
the
a
news.
15-minute chart for us on this software or no?
No, I can pull out my Schwab one. You want me to do that?
Nah, not necessary.
Okay, but that's the only way I would do it. If you want to do something with IPOs ever, in my opinion, you should be doing only 15-minute chart trading.
And you can find that info if you're in the obviously the middle Patreon tier to Bid and Ask Nation. Mo, they are really making money in that Discord channel.
Yeah.
You guys are basically like on a team of buyers.
Yeah, it's like a team of minions that go and
buy up stuff and make money.
Exactly.
And we'll share some of that. We'll share some of that feedback that we get from those people that are making a good amount of money. People are saying they're making their entire Patreon, their whole year, in just a couple trades.
There was somebody that said that he made his entire Patreon for the year, plus money on top of it, plus paid. He was like, I paid my taxes, and I still came out with $1,500 from this trade.
Crazy.
In how long?
In 14 days.
Now, granted, that's always going to be the case, but the point is, if you stick to the right system and learn, you'll do well.
If you're looking for a system in your life of investing, which I was for a long time, my system used to be look at the stock price, watch the news, and then just start buying and hoping. I never looked at any of this stuff, Paul. But if you're looking for a system, feel free to click on the link below to join our Patreon. This is part of the Bid and Ask Nation, the Everything Minions. You can get in this Discord channel. You can get in this Discord chat of people all over. Paul, we're astounded that people in Australia, New Zealand, Japan.
The software is not even out yet, and we would have 1,648 people waiting for the software. I talked to our software provider the other day, literally 2 days ago, and they're like, I said the number. He's like, wow, it's incredible. You have 630. I go, no, 1,600. He's like,
waiting for April 15th.
Oh, my Lord. I was like, yeah, we don't have the software out yet. Now, the reason I love the software and I push it so much, guys, it's incredible. I started at $8 a month as the lowest level. When I did this, it was 14. Now it's 17. It's on its way to 49. This software is worth every bit of 49 all day. Our competitors, $199, $199, $35, all per month. Here are all the X's you don't get with them. Here are all the things you get with us. One of the big things you get with us, the Discord community. You go in there, talk to 1,600 people as it grows in different chats. It's not a major cluster. It's very organized. Bring up your stock ideas, talk about things. It's extremely, extremely organized and awesome. People love it. I'm telling you guys, 50 cents a day. If you have a portfolio of over $1,000, you pay it. Literally $1,000, you pay it because you're going to learn so much. We have people in there making $5,000 a month just on options they've learned from us. It's completely incredible. You're just really crazy for not signing up for it. It's pennies a day. It's 50. If I came to you right now and said, hey, can you give me 50 cents? Would you even think about it? You'd give it right to me. If I did it again yesterday, you would never, ever think about it. But instead, you can get all of this for about 50 cents a day.
This is the guidance that you very well might be looking for, that I was looking for a long time, Paul. A process, a guidance, and a community of people where we can talk about this. Yep. That is our Patreon. Paul, that is our take on ChargePoint. If you're interested in gambling and you think this is a long-term play and you're listening to other YouTubers, go for it. It's been higher in the past and it could go higher in the future. For us as value investors, we want undervalued companies with a great balance sheet that we can hold on to for a long time. So that's our stance on ChargePoint. You know I love you, the patrons. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, make sure you fondle that thumbs up on the way out. We know you love you guys. Thanks. Everything money. See you guys.
That was right. 296 just this year.
Oh,
my
God.
That's the total IPOs.
Don't end the show. We're not ending the show. Talk to this, Mo. Why is this bad? Let's hold on a second. Now, if you're watching, I just signed off here. Right. We're staying with this. We're staying with this because Mo, you looked this up. What is going on with these SPACs?
So SPAC Analytics is like they're like the gold standard of who keeps track of these SPACs. In 2021, so far, there have been 296 SPACs, 352 total IPOs. 2020, there were 248 SPACs.
All year.
All year. We've already surpassed 2020 with these SPACs this year. And in 2019, I mean, it goes down to 2009, but
can I tell a story?
that is insane.
Go
Do you
ahead, Paul.
remember that in 2000 when everybody who had an internet idea was going public on just an idea?
Well, we don't, Paul. I mean, people say this is different. You're old.
Guess what, guys? The internet did change the world, and it didn't end up being different. If you think SPACs are changing the world because electric vehicles are changing the world, the internet literally changed the world. Electric vehicles, okay, it's saving the environment, sure. I get that, but the internet changed. It was the biggest change in the world that I can even think about. Yes, of course, cars and airplanes, all that stuff, but the internet literally changed the world, and it ended up not being any different. At the end of the bubble burst, everybody's like, oh, it wasn't different. If you think this is different this time, I hate to break it to you, you're just gonna end up losing a lot of money at some point. In the meantime, I'm gonna look stupid, and I'm fine with that. But in the future, don't look stupid. Just listen to fundamentals, just like you are as a person. Your cash flow is going to determine your net worth. That's the same thing for a company. The company's cash flow will determine its own net worth. Don't be the sucker who buys this stuff because of hype. Just because A-Rod's in it.
Or if you're listening to somebody who is giving you YouTube financial advice from their spare bedroom, and you like to follow, like myself, a couple gajillionaires making $1 zillion and going to their Mexican homes for vacation, feel free to subscribe to Everything Money and get on the train, baby. That's our stance on ChargePoint. We love you. We're out of here, baby. See ya.